Hello everyone and welcome, it's Shanna. Now, on my live the other night, I did these 5 cards with my Under the Sea Love from Lizzie kit. And these are Kendra's Card Challenge 19 sketches 1 through 5. Now tonight I'm going to work on 5 more cards and we're going to see what we can put together. So I love to really bust up my card kits, and so I thought it'd be nice to take Love from Lizzie and mix it with Kendra's Card Challenge and just come up with some great sketches. So I've got 6 here, and I made myself a little note on the envelope to use the peel-offs between these pieces of patterned paper for some added interest. Now I normally use those little clear pockets for my cards, but I can't find them, so I'm using some small envelopes to get all my sketch information together. And I apologize, I'm getting stuffy. We've had all kinds of crazy weather, lots of allergens and stuff, and I'm just getting real stuffy again. So anyway, I've got this card base that I made out of some cardstock from Love from Lizzie, and I'm just going to get these strips laid down on there. Sorry, I have to keep taking breaks to kind of clear my throat. So this has 2 thin pieces of patterned paper and then 2 wider. And since I have 2 of that kind of faux glitter, I'm going to separate them by using this white panel that has the till on it, the white strip, and then we'll come back in. But I'm going to use some of my strips, and I wonder if gold will look all right, or should I use till? So I'm going to audition them a little bit, as Jana would say. And we'll just try them out and see what we like. So here's the gold, and I lay it up there, and it gets lost with that gold, but I thought it might look nice with the other, so I thought I'd give it a try. And then I'm going to bring in this is the new peel-off from Love from Lizzie. It's called Denim, and I immediately know that I need to use the denim. So we're going to get all these other gold strips that are falling off all over the place, and we'll get some full-size strips of the denim and get them. I started to say till because they do look a little bit like till, but it is called denim. And I'm just going to lay it down on there. And I thought I could use that piece for the next one, but I can't. You really have to have a 4-inch panel to use 2 on the strips. So I learned that. And because I will use some more on a 4-inch panel and it'll work fine. So I'm just pulling the sketch to show it to you. Sorry, still a little stuffy. And we're just going to lay strips between each one of these strips or pieces of patterned paper just to add some shine and a little extra interest to this sketch. And I will come back in and add it at the top and the bottom of the patterned paper as well, just to kind of finish it off. Now, I did try to do this video just talking through it, but I had so many mishaps and everything that it just starts and stops and everything. It just made sense to just go ahead and take all the sound out of it and just do the voiceover. That's just something about card making that is interesting. Sometimes I can just talk through them, but I just had so many interruptions and just challenges. This particular sketch, or this challenge, has a lot of paper piecing, and quite honestly, some of it's a little bit more difficult than some of the other ones. So I did struggle with it a bit. I even said when I was trying to do the voiceover that it probably would have been good for me to watch Kendra do the cutting guide, because I think I made some wrong cuts. And I mean, I try to follow that thing exactly. So I don't know where I messed up, but at any rate, I'm showing you some of the pieces that are in the kit. This is the fishtail and the foil kind of holographic material and the mesh. And I'm just showing you makes that I made with it. Super fun. Lizzie always has the most interesting things in her kits. And it's the little embellishment bag that is where all the fun is. I'm just showing you all the bits and pieces and, trinkets, twine, gems, just all kinds of fun embellishments in it. I really think that's what sets her apart with her kits, because there is so much fun stuff in her kits that you do not find in other kits. So anyway, we're going to use some of those things tonight. Here's the paper pad. I wanted to show you that, and some of the cardstock. There is a piece of acetate and a piece of self sticking vellum. Here's the stamp set. And I've got a bunch of the sentiments already stamped, heat embossed, and ready to go. So I'm just going to trim this down because it's a couple of happy hellos, and I'm going to add it to the card base. And the more I talk, the stuffier I get, so I apologize. We have just had the wackiest weather in Indiana. It has been stifling hot, storming every night, just pouring down rain, lots of rain. And we've got a cold front moving in. So we're going to go from like, I don't know, 98 to 75. It's typical Indiana. You don't like what the weather is, wait a day and it will change. So I'm trying to figure out what I want to lay down on this panel just to add some interest. And I'm just auditioning all kinds of ephemera, kind of getting it organized so I know what I have. We've got some seaweed. I don't know, some plant life, I don't know, under the sea plant life. And then I decide this shell is big enough that I think it'll work for it. So I'm going to bring in some foam tape. We'll get it popped up and laid down on here. And we've got a happy hello. This is a simple card that you could use for anything. Now, there are two types of embellishments that are included in the kit, the thin ones and then these larger ones. And I'm going to add some of the thin ones to the bottom of this just to kind of fill in some of that empty space there. And add a little sparkle and shine to our card. And then that'll finish off this card. So we're going to go on to the next one. We've got sketch 7. I'm going to show you. This one here gave me fits. This is when I decided I could not do the talk through. Apparently, I cut them wrong. I'm not sure what. But I could not make them fit for the life of me. So I'll trim them down and make them fit. I cut it I think maybe what you need to do is line it up on this paper and then cut the edges. I don't know. Or else it was user error and I cut it incorrectly. But I'll figure it out. I'll do some fumbling around here, but we'll get it figured out. So basically what I'm going to do is just kind of lay them all in place and try and figure out how they go based upon the sketch. I'm looking at the sketch using it, and I'm going to realize that I either didn't cut it right or you're supposed to trim it down. I don't know which, but we will get something similar to the sketch, and then we will use, I'm looking at an envelope to see if I missed something. I'll even pause and look in every other envelope to see if maybe I've put them in the wrong envelopes together. But ultimately, I'm going to get them laid down on here. I'm going to trim them up, and I'm going to make it work. And as far as the finished card results go, you'll never know I made a mistake. But trying to get this laid down on here was quite a challenge. And you basically have two pattern papers that you've cut from. So you can pretty much, I mean, there's no confusion with which pieces go where, but it's just the size of, and here I'm going through every envelope looking to see, did I mix them up? What did I do? What's interesting is when I'm cutting, I feel like I'm doing it exactly right, because I mean, I'm looking at every dimension and cutting it exactly. So I don't know if I got interrupted and came back, or because a lot of my crafting is I take these little bits of time and I do pieces parts and then I come back to it. And so sometimes the distraction will throw you off on whatever it is you're working on. But I will make this work. I'm going to kind of lay things down, and then I'll recognize what pieces are too big and what what pieces need to be cut back. So I'm just looking at the sketch, trying to get these things laid down, and then we'll cut them down and make them work. I'm laying the pieces that I know will fit on there, and then we'll piece the others. See, like this, it's too big. And so I'm trying to get the little trim piece around it, the right size. And then so I'm like, this is it. I'm going to go with it. I'll cut what I need to. We're just going to make it work. I'm not going to waste the pattern paper from the kit. So I'm going to figure out how to make it work. And I'm sure it's user error. I'm sure that the perfectionist that participate in Kinder's Card Challenge could tell me exactly what I did wrong, and maybe I should reach out to him. That's not me. I'm not, I kind of have the Gina K philosophy. It's better than horrible. So I'm going to go with it. And I just showed up. Sometimes that's all you got to do. Just show up and do it. I'm afforded a lot of opportunities in this industry, but I'm not an expert. I'm not perfect. I just show up every day, and I think that's what you need to do. Right or wrong. So I'm going to trim it down again because it doesn't look right. And I get this one. I think I get this one right. The next one, not so much. So we'll get this one tucked in. I'm feeling good about it. I'm going to get this one laid down. We're looking good. I've got it backwards. And it's this next one that stumps me. Not this one, the next one. We can get this one laid down. It's looking good. I think I figured it out. Got to move it a little bit. And then I get this next piece. And this is where the wheels fall off the bus. I cut the wrong side. I'm like, nope, that's not going to work. We got to cut up there. And then I have a big gap because I have cut the wrong side and now I'm cutting the right side, and it's just not big enough. So we'll lay it down on there because I'm not wasting and I'm like, we can cover this up. We've got ephemera. We are going to cover this mistake up and no one will know. So we'll get that laid down on there. And this is an opportune time to use one of these great big jellyfish. Now, it kind of gets lost on there because it's all the same kind of collar scheme, but I'm rolling with it. And look, you covered up. You don't know that I've messed up. There we go. So we're going to bring in some other things to try and add some interest since we have this whole kind of singular color scheme. This is where it's like, oh, if I'd have put this underneath it, it might have been cute. But we're just going to audition some of the ephemera, and we'll just bring some of that in, and we will adorn this card, and we're going to call it done. So what I decided to do was I had cut all these fish out for, I used the fish from Love from Lizzie to make some decorations or just some adornments for VBS. I used this fish, and when you cut this fish out, you get these almost like leafy designs from it. And I thought it kind of looked like coral, and I had the purple and the pink. And I thought I'll just lay this down here, add some additional interest to the card, and then we'll add the Love You sentiment to it. And that'll finish off the card, and I think it's cute. For all the trouble it was, it came out all right. And there we go. Glad that I was able to finally put something together with it. And let's just move on to the next card. So here I am, and this one, it's just got 3 little pieces of pattern paper and then 2 little banner type, just smidgens, like leftover pieces of the cutting guide. So this, we're going to have these 3 pieces and the banners. I'm going to completely rearrange this one to make it work for me. So I'm just digging for all my bits and pieces, trying to figure out what I want to use. We've got some gray cardstock, some mint cardstock, and I'm thinking, I don't know. And then I found this magenta cardstock, and I thought this is what I need because we've got magenta in the pattern papers, and I think it'll look lovely, and we're just going to use it. So we'll get our card base laid down. And it's lovely, and I'll make a gluey mess out of it, but we'll get there. There's some, I'm pointing out the magenta that are in those 2 pieces of pattern paper and how I think it'll just really pull them in together. And I'm thinking I want to use my strips on these just to make it look more interesting and not bring in that 4th piece of pattern paper cardstock that the sketch calls for. So I'm just trying to decide what I'm going to do. I'm thinking I can use my scrap pieces, and I can some of them, but some of them are not long enough. So I'm just going to fill this in, and we'll just add something to that side to fill in where that extra piece of pattern paper is. So we'll get this laid down on here, and we won't get it lined up right, and we'll have to do some paper surgery and rip it off and fix it. This is where I'm like, nope, here we go. Rip that thing off, straighten it up, lay it back down. And now we can put our gold glitter strips down on there. And they're really pretty. So I'm just going to get them laid down on there, cut off what we need, and we're just adding some extra sparkle and shine. And this is how you make Kendra's Card Challenge your own. You just add the extra bits and pieces and whatever it is that you see fit, and it'll still work. Now I've got glue on there, so I'm trying to clean it off. This was just a night of crafting errors. I don't know what happened. Had a busy day, had a team meeting, and then we went to dinner, and I came home and went in the craft room and just made a mess. We wound up going to Arby's, and I had a buffalo chicken sandwich. It was really good. So we'll get these pieces laid down. I've got these peel-offs all stuck to my fingers. Just a hot mess. And I'm just going to trim it out with all of the peel-offs. And since I put that space between the two smaller pieces, my longer piece is not exactly right. So I'm going to cover it up by just layering on top of it, and then you won't notice the gap from the middle peel-off piece. And we're going to go all the way around it. And I'm just working with what I've got here. And to fill in, since I did not bring in that fourth piece of pattern paper that the sketch calls for, I'm going to use my enamel dots that I have and just fill in that area, and just so that it doesn't look like it's off-centered. And we're going to lay a bunch of those down. I've got them. I might as well use them. Dropped one on there. Sometimes these things go flying across the desk, and you can't get them off the glass mat or whatever. I'm just going to try and bring my measurements kind of into line with this. I think it works okay. So I'm just going to try and pull in some other elements to try and add some additional interest to this card. The air conditioning is running, and that's why all that noise is in the background, so I apologize for that. I'm going to trim the sentiment down, and we'll use it on our card. I think the lighter color just adds some additional interest and kind of pulls out some other colors that are in the pattern paper there. So we'll bring in some foam tape, we'll pop it up and get it laid down on our card base. And there we go. Now I'm just looking for anything else to add. I had one blue enamel dot that had like the fishtail texture on it, and I thought it'd be pretty on there since we have that blue pattern paper, and that'll finish off that card. So we're just going to move on to the next sketch, and this is like a quilted pattern. And I struggled with this one as well, but I eventually figured out what I needed to do. Now I saw these two pieces of, after I showed you that, I saw these two pieces of pattern paper that were laying down here that were supposed to be a banner on the card. And they were actually supposed to be under the sentiment. But since I had this open space on the right side, I decided to just banner them up and layer them there. And it'll just kind of fill in that area, and it won't look so bare. And that'll finish off that card. Now we're going to move on to that next one. Keep trying to clean up my desk as I go. I've got all these bits and pieces all over the place. Now this one is a quilted pattern, and we just have 4 squares. And we're going to need 4 more. And so I'll have to bring in some other paper and cut it up. I did not prepare very much for this card, so I'm going to have to bring in some paper, do some cutting, get a card base ready, and we'll just get to work on it. So I've got my card base, and I'm going to bring in a pink layer for the base of it, because we've got pink and purple in this pattern paper, and I thought it could look really nice if we just had a pink base and we brought the purple squares in with it. And I figured out if I could just lay these down in a square and glue the very center of the squares together, then I could tuck my other pieces and come up with this quilted pattern. Now, I don't know if you guys have done this sketch and you've found a better way. If you have, tell me, because I did not know what the best way was to do this. I'm not a quilter. My mom is, and she's fabulous, but it's not my thing, and I struggled with getting these to lay down. So I'm just tucking them in. I've got the very tips of those purple things glued down, and I'm just going to slide my pattern papers in there to try and get the look that I need to achieve. I think it's close. It's probably not perfect, but I'm going to run with it. So we'll just tuck some glue in there and see if we can get these things laid down without them sliding around too much. I think it's a really pretty design. It's just not, I guess, in my wheelhouse. And it's not exact, but it'll work. So I'm going to bring in one of the wood pieces that was included in the kit. A lot of times she'll put some wood pieces in there, and they're quite fun. And then I'm going to take some of this twine that was included. This is purple, and I'm going to make a bow and lay it down on my card base and just add a little extra texture, and I think it'll be cute. And we're going to bring in some peel-offs and lay it down there at the bottom. And I'm going to omit the sentiment. I'm going to use this just for a simple note card. It could be used for anything. It is stuck to my glass mat. I need to cut it off. Now, when you cut it down to 4 instead of 4 1/4, you can get 2 strips out of it. Must be an 8-inch strip. Anyway, a little bit more because I trimmed some off. But anyway, so that'll finish off this card, and we're just going to leave it at that. So we're going to move on to the next sketch and bringing in all my bits and pieces. We've just got 2 pieces of pattern paper here, and we're supposed to bring in a sentiment and some embellishments. And I'm just going to bring in a piece of the mint cardstock from the kit and a sentiment, and we're just going to get it laid down on a card base. So we'll glue it up and get it laid down. I think it actually shows kind of a wide sentiment, but I'm not going to use it. I'm going to lay this pattern paper, and we're going to put a whole bunch of our ephemera on there, try and use that up, and then we'll add a little bit of a sentiment to it. So that pattern paper that's at the top, we have all of those pieces in ephemera. We've got the pink, the coral, the sand dollar, and the shell. And we're just going to bring all of that back in and just kind of layer it up, just kind of recreate that pattern paper. I'm getting my larger gold enamel dots laid down there, and I'm just going to bring in all the shells that look like the pattern paper. And there we've got the flower, or whatever that is. We've got the sand dollar. And then I'll look and I'll find some of the other pieces as well. I'm going to glue some down, pop some up, and we'll go from there. So we'll get this one laid down. And then we're going to bring our sand dollar in. I think we pop it up. And then we're going to bring in that, I don't know, is that a conch shell? I don't know. It's got kind of the ripples in it. And we'll get it laid down there as well. We're going to put some foam tape on it, lay it down. And I think it's kind of fun just to kind of recreate that pattern that's above. And then we will bring in our sentiment. It is too wide. I'm going to cut it down. And then we'll lay it down on our card base. And we've got another happy hello. A bunch of happy hello cards. You can use them for anything. So that'll finish off that card. So we're going to go through our cards. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the card tonight, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we've got 10 of the 15 cards. So thanks for watching and have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.